Now, page 4. Desperate Democrats throwing the political kitchen sink into the 2018 election cycle. It's not Republicans who are panicking over what could happen in November. It's the Democrats. They are now deploying their not-so-secret fundraising weapon to help Democrat congressional candidates in their effort to try and retake the House of Representatives. A guy named Barack Obama is hitting the fundraising circuit. The 44th president will be the star attraction at a star-studded event in Hollywood later this month. Price tag for a ticket to that event, on the high end, $100,000 per person. And of course, the Democrats are desperately trying to find the right wedge issue with which to hammer Republicans this election cycle. Tax cuts are bad, health care is a right, DACA is good, and now they're throwing gerrymandering at voters. They will try anything to win votes through the primaries and into November, as witnessed by the Democrat congressman from Maryland, John Sarbanes.
This administration promised to come up here and clean things and fix a broken system. They've only made it worse.
Stop the tape. This is absolutely wrong. It's not true. President Trump has come in and retooled the system as much as a single human being, as much as a single president of the United States can do. Jobs alone. He has chosen not to fill, last month alone, the month of May, 3,000 jobs. Overall, since the president has been in office 500 days, more than 24,000 jobs at the federal level have gone unfilled for a purpose, and that is to try and shrink the federal Leviathan. But the president is also shrinking the load on the American people by reducing regulations. These are fundamental changes on behalf of the American people to benefit the American people. Throw in there tax cuts and a whole host of other things like a new and retooled foreign policy that puts America first. And overall, the entire environment in Washington, D.C. has been changed by the 45th president. And it's been changed for the better, and the Democrats can't stand it. All they can do is try and throw arrows, like now. Roll tape.
Understand why people are getting even more cynical by the day.
If people are getting more cynical, that would be voters are getting more cynical about Washington, D.C., Congressman, then why don't you do something about it? Why don't you step forward, have the moxie to come to the American people and say, you know what I'm going to do to make you less cynical? I'm going to suggest that we have term limits on Congress. How about that, Congressman? Do you have the guts to do something like that? Term limit yourself? Demand 2 terms and you're done? My favorite is 1 and you're done. Why don't you help the cynicism by saying that you're not going to be a lifelong politician, which is what you are? Roll tape.
We want to offer something different. We have a plan to reform our democracy. A better deal for our democracy has 3 key components. First of all, we want to empower the American voter. We want to make it easier, not harder, to register and vote.
Stop. Of course they do, because they know it's going to help the Democrats. They want to make it super easy to register to vote. They want illegal immigrants to be able to register to vote. They want as much voter corruption as humanly possible in each election because they know, historically speaking, it benefits the Democrat candidate. We've seen it time and time again. So sure, they want to make voter registration even easier. In this day and age, there is a multitude of ways to register to vote. There's no shortage of ways to register to vote, but of course, they want more of it. They want same-day voter registration, which just breeds corruption. This is what he's alluding to, this kind of nefarious activity. They want to loosen the rules so they can taint the system. It's that simple. Roll tape.
We want to make sure we address partisan gerrymandering so that people feel respected in terms of how districts are drawn across the country. So we have
gerrymandering is a function, really, of the way the framers of the Constitution wrote the founding document. And they left it rather vague. They essentially said, hey, it's up to the state legislatures to apportion these districts. And so there's a Democrat legislature, there's a Republican legislature. There's necessarily going to be politics involved in drawing these districts. And so when legislatures change from one party to another, and it happens to be coincidental with the time when they redraw the maps, then necessarily there's going to be politics infused in this. And maybe it's exactly what the framers of the Constitution wanted, knowing that necessarily politics changes course over the span of 10 years when we do our census and then we make the drawing of the map. So maybe this is exactly what the framers of the Constitution wanted, this, quote, gerrymandering. So here's the problem with gerrymandering, though, as an election wedge issue. If most Americans cannot even name the 3 branches of government, nor the 5 rights protected by the First Amendment, then how in the world will they digest the very concept of gerrymandering, which, by the way, has benefited both parties pretty much equally?
Want to see more videos like this? Click on the link below and subscribe to One America News on YouTube, and call your cable provider and kindly demand that One America News is added to your lineup. Call and subscribe today.